times.
But back to boxing. Let's talk obviously about the topic that I think we may have some insider knowledge on, Rob. As some might say, sources are telling us, and in a way backing up the claim as I pull it up, and I should have it pulled up. I apologize. Because Tyson Fury made this claim, I want to say it was yesterday or today at a press conference. I forget exactly what.
Yeah, yesterday in a BT Sport interview.
Okay, I know it was some sort of media interview event, whatever it was, for obviously the fight coming up this weekend. But he said he wants to fight Wilder twice coming up this year. I think obviously once in February and then once in June, I think is what he said. And then fight the winner of Anthony Joshua and Andy Ruiz in 2020. And our, again, sources, hold on, sound, yeah. There we go. Sources are telling us there's an option in the contract. We're trying to get further information on that option, whether it's a two-way option, whether it's an option for the champion, whatever it is, you know. But there is an option for a third fight, for a trilogy fight between these two men, which would obviously take place later on in the year. And our source also says that they believe it's most likely possible that that option is enforced, and we do get the trilogy within the first half of 2020. Rob, your thoughts on this overall?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, when Tyson said it, it just got me sort of thinking, like, is that a wish list or is that like pretty accurate? You know, does Tyson kind of know that this is the
only thing that may not be accurate is that it's all within 2020. Because, I mean, while he is fighting, no, he's only fighting twice so far this year. I mean, these top guys don't fight 3 times a year, so I doubt we're going to get two Wilder fights in an AJ fight or a Ruiz fight. I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, look, if Joshua wins, that's a messy fight to make. BT, Sky, ESPN, DAZN.
Let alone we probably might get a trilogy in of itself with AJ and Andy Ruiz. I mean, that could spill out into next year as well.
Possibly, yeah.
Easily.
Well, yeah, but we'll see. Obviously, mandatories are going to come somewhere in amongst all this, you know.
But circling back to the option, are you surprised that there's an option for a trilogy fight?
I am, especially as Wilder's out there sort of wanting Fury to step aside and stuff like that. Fury is quoted as saying he wouldn't step aside if it was 50 million. I'd like to see that theory tested personally, but and I don't see why. I think Fury's right to not take any step aside in this. They've got a contract. Why would he let Wilder go and get another big money fight before their big money fight? When if Tyson Fury beats Wilder, that big money fight's his big money fight. You know what I mean? If you know, Wilder Fury outboxes and doesn't happen to hit the canvas through the fight this time, and he gets up and gets a decision or whatever, and say, I don't know, Joshua beats Ruiz in the rematch, Wilder, Joshua and Fury is huge, especially if it was made here, you know, a domestic. That's gigantic, you know, and that would be for the undisputed plus lineal title. So yeah, I don't see why Fury. I mean, what did he say? There's a contract, it's done, and if you know, let's see it through. Otherwise, you got a lawsuit on your ass. Were his words. So, how concrete that is? He said the only way he can get out of it is if he's retires or he's injured and then doesn't return to the ring because of the injury or whatever. So, he says that's you know, it's solid or whatever. But yeah, you know, a trilogy. I don't know. I think they've kind of, you know, in some regard, tied each other up, and almost as if the show's going on without them. If you know, Ruiz is out there with all the bouts, or if Joshua claims those bouts back and they're still locked in with a third fight, possibly. Or
I'll be honest, not to cut you off, but I just think regardless of what happened next for both respective big heavyweight fights, right? Ruiz Joshua 2 and Wilder Fury 2. Like, their paths, at least in the short term, are separate. Like, they're on separate trajectories. I think they, in today's age, you really get a hyper sort of fast saga of fights. The days of a trilogy being spanned throughout a decade for a fighter's career, I feel like is gone. Guys that now have trilogy fights or rematches, they're instant. If they don't happen instant, they almost never happen. It feels like. Am I wrong in that? That when guys like Leonard and Hearns and Hagler, when they were fighting each other, but throughout a decade of time, not instantaneously every time. Some cases they did, but not every time. It feels like in today's age, trilogies and rematches happen instantaneously, or at least they have to.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. Look, Fury come under a lot of stick because he had the paperwork under his nose for 5 days apparently, and then made this big money deal with ESPN. He's had a lot of criticism regarding his opponents so far with the ESPN deal, but I don't think in a way, it's not ducking. If surely ESPN, this was part of the plan. The Wilder fight, the rematch, was kind of, I don't know, the reason of signing Fury. They saw what the first fight was and what attention it got. Not groundbreaking pay-per-view numbers as such, but decent considering it was both guys' first time on pay-per-view. Knowing that if we let this, good old Bob and his marination, let's marinate, and the second fight, obviously, I think is going to do a lot better. So yeah, but immediate rematch. Obviously, look, Joshua's getting a lot of people saying he shouldn't be taking this immediate rematch. But a lot of people saying he kind of has to because of the position. Once if he doesn't and those bouts go elsewhere, it might be a long time coming before he gets a chance again. Although